and welcome everybody. This is Amanda Rose from Archer Travel Service, and today we are so excited to welcome another Amanda, Amanda Morales from Virgin Voyages. How you doing today, Amanda?
I'm great. How are you, Amanda?
I'm great. I'm great. It's like the Amanda show right now.
It's Amanda squared.
Yes, yes. Well, just before you get started, if you guys have questions, please put those in chat. If we have time for Q&A at the end, we will ask those to Amanda Morales. Also, this is recorded, so you can review this at any time at your leisure in the trainings hub of the Travel Cafe website. So without further ado, Amanda, let's get started.
Sounds great. So, as many of you know, when we get started at Virgin Voyages, we always say, Ahoy, first mates. So, for those that don't know me yet or that haven't met me before, I am Amanda Morales, and I'm one of the sales managers on the national accounts team at Virgin Voyages. So excited to be here with you today to do another training and give you kind of some of the updates on Virgin Voyages. So, as usual, it'll be a little bit of a brand overview, but also just some of the new exciting things that have been happening lately. So, with that, I'll go ahead and get started. So, one thing to know about Virgin Voyages, which I'm sure many of you already know, is that we are exclusively adults, which means no kids, no kidding. And the only children you'll see on board is everyone's inner child roaming free. So, at Virgin, that is 18 years and older. You can have two 18-year-olds in one cabin. You don't need to be 21 to be able to sail in your own room. But another thing that I think is so special about this is that all of the experiences on board were curated with adults in mind, right? So you have an open play arcade where you can relive your childhood playing Donkey Kong or Super Mario Brothers, Pac-Man, Galaga, and there's no kid, tugging on your pant leg saying that they want their turn next. Everything again is just created for adults to have the time of their lives, whatever that looks like for you. So again, huge differentiator between us and the other guys out there. And another question we get asked quite frequently is, how big are your ships? So we are boutique sized, not too big, not too small, just the perfect size, as we like to say. So our ships accommodate just over 2,700 passengers. They are 110,000 gross tons, which who is paying attention to that stat? But something that I think is important to call out is that a lot of the space on board is dedicated to venue space versus having as many cabins as you can have on a ship of that size. So that's just another thing to keep in mind. And they are designed a little bit more yacht-like. So as you're walking through the ship, the spaces are a little bit smaller and the vibe changes as you're walking throughout. So again, it is just such a different design than the other ships that are out there. It's not a mega ship, it's not a tiny ship, it is just in the middle, giving you plenty of opportunities to have some of the more diverse offerings of a large cruise ship, but the luxury of sailing on a yacht as well. So now let's talk about where we are now versus where we were before. So we launched in 2021, officially sailing in the water. Unfortunately, our March 2020 original sail date didn't work out for reasons that we all know, but we were officially able to get on the water in October of 2021. So back in 2022, we had been on the water for just a little bit. We had two ships in service, going to 34 ports, doing 24 itineraries. So now in 2025, we're almost at the end of the year. We now have four ships officially because our fourth lady ship just did her very first mermaiden voyage that ended this week. And we're visiting over 90 ports and doing over 80 different itineraries. So then our Shore Things program, that's our cheeky name for shore excursions. Back in 2021, we only had 160 offerings for Shore Things in seven ports. That's not a lot, right? So your clients have said time and time again that they wanted more variety, they wanted more things to do once they're off our ship. So we now have 1,100 Shore Things available for this year. So again, you give us your feedback and we listen to what it is that you're asking for. So back in 21, again, when we officially launched, we wanted to disrupt the cruise industry. We wanted to be different. We wanted to change up the traditional cruising environment that's out there. So it took us a couple years to do that. We wanted to make a bold impression on the industry. And I think we were very successful in doing that. But now your clients keep coming back. They continue wanting to sail with us. So we're in our experience era for the next couple of years. So our goal is to continue growing that sailor loyalty and helping them create those unforgettable moments that make them come back time and time again. And a statistic that I love to share is that almost 50% of your clients rebook their next voyage when they're on board the ship. And guess what? You're getting immediate credit and immediate access to that booking. So really great way to get that extra commission in there, and our team is doing the work on your behalf on board the ship. So now for Winter Caribbean, this is the first time that we will have four ships doing Caribbean in the winter. So we'll have three ships sailing out of Miami and one sailing out of San Juan. And we were traditionally known for short Caribbean, doing 4 and 5 nights out of Miami. That was kind of our bread and butter. But your clients wanted to spend more time on board the ship. We would find them booking back to backs and doing all sorts of, gymnastics to be able to stay on board. So we listened to them and we started offering longer itineraries. So we have voyages up to 12 nights now. And we're actually visiting new destinations in the Caribbean as well. With an extra ship, we have a little bit more bandwidth to explore a little bit more. So we are now visiting St. Thomas, Ocho Rios, Samana, and my personal favorite is Bonaire, which is the B in the ABC Islands. So it is such a beautiful destination. I am so excited and can't wait to sail the Virgin Way and visit Bonaire. But again, lots of different options to choose from, lots of fresh itineraries that they can take advantage of. So this little handy dandy grid over here is called the Lady Ship Grid. And you can find this on firstmates.com, which is our trade website. And we have an area for marketing materials, which I'll go over in a little bit more depth later on in the presentation. But there's a search bar that you can use, and you can type in exactly what it is that you're looking for. So this is really great to have because you can share it to, you could save it to your desktop, you can print it out. And it's a one-pager that just shows you where our ships are through the current open deployment. And it also shows you when the ships are due to go into their dry dock. So we already put our first ship, Scarlet Lady, through dry dock at the end of last year. And next on the roster will be Valiant Lady, which is our second ship, who will be going through dry dock in just a few months. So really great thing to have. Lady Ship Grid is what it's called, and you can search it under marketing materials. So now our newest ship, the newest addition to our fleet, is Brilliant Lady, and we could not be more thrilled to have her in our fleet. So our ships are all sister ships, which means that they are designed almost identically. But what's cool about Brilliant Lady is that we are introducing new dining, new entertainment offerings, new destinations, and new experiences on board. I was lucky enough to be able to see Brilliant Lady just a few days ago in New York City, but there's so much there's so many exciting things that are happening on Brilliant Lady. So first of all is that we are doing 4 Mermaidens, which are our version of inaugural voyages, starting in the Big Apple. So New York City, this is the first time that Virgin Voyages has ever sailed out of the Northeast. So again, we're thrilled about that. And it's a good opportunity to get your clients on board if they haven't wanted to fly down to Florida. They live in the Northeast. It's a drive market. Great opportunity to get them there. Then we will be coming down to Miami because you can't forget the cruise capital of the world before we head over to the West Coast, which again is new for our brand. So starting in LA in April of 2026, and then Seattle in May of 2026 before we embark on our Alaska season. So we will be doing Alaska for the very first time starting next summer, and we'll have a full Alaska season there. And I'll go over some of those itineraries in a minute, but it's so exciting just because there's so many things that we're doing for the very first time, and it's opening us up to so many more clients that are kind of out there. And I know a lot of you are on the West Coast as well. So I think this is really, really great news. So to highlight some of the itineraries out of the Northeast, we're doing 4 itineraries for the inaugural season. Not a lot. It's kind of like a sampler pack, if you will. And we just did a Bermuda itinerary. We'll be offering Canada, New England. And those are actually taking place right now as we speak in September, because I know some of you will be watching back the recording. But don't worry, we'll be coming back to the Northeast next year as well. And we'll have a longer season on Valiant Lady, which is our second lady ship. So lots of short things to choose from, lots of different itineraries to choose from as well. So the Caribbean, of course, our bread and butter. This is what we do the most of. We will be doing itineraries from here as well. You've seen our Caribbean itineraries on the other ships, but almost every single one stops in Bimini, where we have our exclusive beach club. And then, of course, some of those new destinations that I mentioned before. But then the West Coast, again, really, really excited for this. And we're going to be doing new destinations, primarily the Mexican Riviera out of LA. And there's a 16-night voyage that's really cool because it leaves from Miami and it goes to LA via the Panama Canal. Brilliant Lady is the only ship in our fleet that has been retrofitted to fit through the Panama Canal. And the way that we accomplished that was by bringing in those lifeboats so that the ship could fit through the locks. So this one's cool because it goes to South America, Central America, and lots of places in between. And then Alaska. Of course, all of these are new ports because we've never sailed out of the West Coast, but we'll be doing ports in Canada. Of course, your traditional Alaskan ports as well, primarily round trip Seattle. There won't be any cruise land portions that we'll be offering, but lots of itineraries of varying lengths in Alaska, which I think is really great as well. So, to highlight some of those, and this is another resource that you can find in the marketing library as well. This is a traditional 7 night itinerary. This is something that you can share with your clients, but to get a little closer look at what the itinerary looks like, this is a normal itinerary if you've done Alaska, if you've sold Alaska with somebody else. But notice the little half moon next to Juneau on day 4. That half moon means that we're doing a late night stay in port that day. So it gives your clients the opportunity to experience a destination in a different way when they're staying there a little bit longer, when they have time to maybe grab dinner or do something else after they do a shore thing. It gives them time to be able to try something new. And then this one is a 12 night. So we're offering up to 12 nights. And look at all the half moons on this one. You have 6 different opportunities for later night stays in these destinations where you can try something different. So if your clients have done Alaska before, it's going to be a total game changer on Virgin just because the product is totally different than everything else that's out there. But even trying a longer itinerary shows them new places that they might not have seen before. So this is going to be really nice. It'll give them places to go in Canada, different ports in Alaska. So I can't wait to personally sail Alaska next year, hoping that I'll find time in my busy travel schedule, but it's going to be fantastic. So now I mentioned that Brilliant Lady's the only ship in our fleet that has been retrofitted to fit through the Panama Canal because of the lifeboats. So with that, we have a new cabin category. So 86% of the cabins on Virgin have a sea terrace, which you'll see our signature red hammocks on board, but we now have the slightly smaller sea terrace on Brilliant Lady. And the best part is you don't have to fight for those hammocks because this category has 2 hammocks on the balcony. So the cabin itself is the same size as a traditional sea terrace. It's the actual balcony that's a little bit smaller. But again, having that additional hammock gives you a nice place to lounge, read a book, take a nap, have a glass of wine, do whatever it is that your heart desires. So it is going to be the same luxury experience that your clients are used to on Virgin. Another thing that is new and so good is our new restaurant concept called Rojo. So Rojo is in the space of Razzle Dazzle, which is one of our restaurants, and I'll give you a more comprehensive view of what the restaurants are all about. But Razzle Dazzle is a restaurant that's available for breakfast and for dinner. Sorry, brunch, should I say, and dinner. And it wasn't the most popular for dinner. So we wanted to change things. So with Brilliant Lady coming out, we wanted to do something new, have a new dining concept with Rojo. And Scarlet Lady, which is our first ship that went through dry dock, has something called Lucky Lotus in the space of Razzle Dazzle in the evening as well. So it's still Razzle Dazzle. It just has a little bit of a twist in the evening. I was able to dine at Rojo when I was on board Brilliant Lady last week, and the food is absolutely spectacular. And these are just some of the things that you can expect. You have churros con chocolate, you have a beautiful braised chicken, steak, lots of tapas that you can share with your table mates. You can even upgrade to a lobster paella if you really want to. And the entertainment is different as well. I mean, our entertainment on board is curated specifically for Virgin Voyages, so you won't see any Broadway shows or anything of that nature because our entertainment is exclusive to us. And we wanted to shake things up on that as well. So on Brilliant Lady, we have 6 new shows to choose from, and it's a variety of different things. So we still have our most popular show, which is Dual Reality. Dual Reality is our take on Romeo and Juliet. And fun fact, it is the only show to go from ship to shore. So it started on our ships and it is now available on land as well. So Up with a Twist is our dinner show. And it's cool because it also includes cocktail pairings as well as the show progresses. Murder in the Manor is fun. It's an 80s style murder mystery. We have Out of Time, which is a time travel show. And then, of course, we are part of the Virgin family of brands. So we have to lean into some of that history with Virgin Records and music. So we have Red Hot and duets on board as well. So Again, never before seen. These shows are exclusive to Brilliant Lady. And as the ships continue to go through dry dock, you'll start seeing some new things on each ship that are individual. So when you're talking to your clients about Virgin Voyages, this is the most important thing aside from being adults only that you should always be mentioning, and that is our all-in voyage pricing, our always included luxury. When you're comparing prices between cruise lines, we sit in the upper premium space, and you might notice a little bit of a disparity in the price, but once you start to factor in all of the inclusions, you'll see that it really is fair and flexible pricing, starting with our tips and gratuities. Something as simple as that. One, we want to make sure that our crew is being taken care of, but we also want to give your clients peace of mind so that they don't feel like they're being nickel and dimed at every turn on board the ship. So what does that look like? They pay for their gratuities. It's included in the pricing already up front. But when they're on board the ship, gratuities are included there as well. So the price that you see for a cocktail or a massage is the price that it is. It's not that price plus 18 or 20% gratuity, plus taxes and fees, and flipping a tablet or getting an envelope in your cabin on the last night, because that's worry is taken away from the beginning. So I think that that's a huge, huge, huge selling point. All of the dining experiences are included. So all the restaurants that I'll show you are included in the price. They're not paying a cover charge to dine anywhere on board the ship. There are a couple items that they can upgrade if they want to splurge for the night, like lobster paella or a seafood tower, but it's minimal. There's maybe one or two items on each menu that are the treat yourself, and then everything else is included. Our wonderful shows and entertainment are all included. Wi-Fi. Tell me it's not a basic human necessity these days. Everybody wants to stay connected. Long gone are the days of locking your phone in a safe for 7 nights while you go on a cruise. We want to give our friends and family FOMO back home about the wonderful vacation we're having. So to be able to include Wi-Fi, I think is such a huge, huge game changer. Fitness classes. I'm a fitness class girly here on land, so I love to be able to continue my routine on board the ship. We have a beautiful gym facility, but just to be able to go to a class and have someone tell me what to do and then I'm done getting my sweat on, I think is really great. And then your essential drinks, that's your still and sparkling water. You get 2 carafes of water in your cabin every day. You have drip coffees, teas, juices, even sodas are included. So there's no special cup that's needed. Sodas are already included and you can get them pretty much anywhere on the ship. So now my favorite thing to talk about is the very best food at sea. So part of the shaking up the cruise industry and the disruption that we wanted to create in our disruption era was changing the way that people view cruise food, right? Cruising has never really been known as being a food destination. It's almost like a means to an end to visit multiple places. It's nice to have, food on board that's included, but it wasn't really known for cuisine, if you will. So with that, we decided that we weren't going to do any buffets on board, so we don't have any buffets, and there's no main dining room. Why? Because we wanted to have choice for our guests. So we have 6 full service restaurants. All of the food is fresh and made to order. And the menus are Michelin chef curated, which I think is really awesome. So that's one thing. And then we have even fast casual options as well. So our full service restaurants, we have the Wake, which is good for brunch or for dinner. This is our steak and seafood restaurant. Really, really great, elevated vibes inside. Razzle Dazzle that I mentioned before, good for brunch or dinner. And it's 2 different concepts on 2 different ships. You'll continue to see that kind of trend as the ships continue to go through dry dock. We have the test kitchen, and this one's cool to highlight because it's a chef's menu. It's that experiential dining, and you don't pick from what you want to order. The menu's already selected by our chef, and then the courses are brought out individually. You can even add a wine or a cocktail pairing if you want to splurge a little bit that night. But what a cool thing to be able to do a chef's menu. I mean, on land, you'd be paying at least $100+ a person to have an experience like that. So Test Kitchen is really, really cool. Gun Bay is the first Korean barbecue at sea. And it's the only social dining experience on board. So this is the only restaurant where you'll be seated with other sailors. But don't worry, because we want to break the ice between you and your table mates. So we kick things off with a drinking game with a complimentary bottle of soju so that you guys can get to know each other. And in my experience, it ends up being so much fun. I'm really competitive, and I'm sure that other people at the table are competitive too. So it's a fun way to get to know people that you probably wouldn't have interacted with otherwise. Pink Agave is our elevated Mexican cuisine. Really delicious food there as well. And it's actually also a mezcaleria. So if you have any tequila or mezcal lovers, we have just a phenomenal library in pink agave. And then we have extra virgin, which is our elevated Italian cuisine as well. So fresh house-made pastas. You have beautiful steaks there as well. Really great options at all of the different restaurants. And the way that you get into them is that you book them prior to the voyage. So 45 days prior to the voyage for a standard cabin, 60 if they're in a suite. You get access to the restaurant reservations within the Virgin Voyages app. And it works just like Open Table if you're familiar with it. So you choose a restaurant that you want to dine at on a particular day and time with your party size, and then there you go, you're booked. So it's really, really easy and seamless. And then a couple other highlights are the galley. So the galley is our version of a food hall, different stalls to choose from for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and lots of options there. And it's cool because you can sit down, find a table, scan the QR code menu, and then raise your red flag, and a crew member can come to take your order. So again, it's relaxing, taking the stress out of the dining experience. And then another one that I really love is the dock, which is Mediterranean style tapas. Great spot for lunch or to just get a beautiful panoramic view of the sea. So that's just some of the options that we have on board, but it really is food that is craveable even on land, not just good for a cruise. Now that we talked about all that food, we got to sweat it out, right? So I mentioned the group fitness, and I mentioned that we have a really beautiful gym facility as well. B Complex has two sides. So there's one side that's dedicated to weightlifting and another side that's dedicated to cardio, or the runway, which is our beautiful jogging track, training camp for some high intensity interval training. But let's suppose that your version of self-care doesn't involve breaking a sweat at the gym. Don't worry, we've got you as well. We have the Redemption Spa, where you can purchase a spa pass and enjoy all of those amenities. Gym and Tonic is our well-being area. We have the tune-up if you want to get a mani-pedi, dry dock for that Scarlet Night blowout. Stubble and Groom is our gentleman's barber shop. We even have a tattoo shop on board the ship, and I have been lucky enough to sail with quite a few of our first mates, and multiple of them have gotten their very first tattoo on board the ship. So really cool. We have amazing tattoo artists that are, widely renowned. So it's really, really cool. And again, lots of things to take advantage of. And I like to mention this too because when you're looking at your client base and you have those clients that are really wellness focused, these are the things that you want to be talking about because I think we don't get enough credit for really being a wellness focused brand. And we're passionate about what we like to call detoxing and retoxing, right? Making sure you're having a good time, but taking care of yourself in the process. I am a woman of my word. I said that I like to do fitness classes, and I again wanted to show an example of what that looks like. So this is our bungee class. It's one of our more popular classes on board. Very, very small, so it fills up pretty quick. But think about when would you ever have the opportunity to do something like this at no extra cost anywhere, land, sea, anywhere. So it took me out of my routine, taught me something new, and was really, really fun and challenging if you can't tell by the woman over here in the corner who looks like she's fighting for her life. So another thing that is different about Virgin Voyages is that we do not have a cruise director on board the ship. Controversial, I know we are a cruise line, but we're all about inclusivity, being comfortable in your own skin, coming as you are. And we want you to find your tribe when you're on board the ship. We want you to find your people. So we felt like one person wouldn't jive with 2,700 different personalities. So with that, we introduced the Happenings cast. And they all have different functions. There's 12 people with 12 different personalities. So you might see the hype when you're boarding the ship, getting the vibe going, or the charmer while you're sitting down and having a cocktail, they might be walking around doing some magic tricks. Or the artist might put up an art activation in the roundabout where you can just walk up and paint with your fellow sailors. We have the diva, which is our resident drag queen. So many different people, and they're all throughout the ship all the time. So you'll see them in some of our entertainment. You'll see them even hosting fitness classes sometimes. So it's really fun to be able to interact with our happenings cast when your clients are on board the ship. And a couple things you'll see on every single voyage are our signature Scarlet Night. So that is where the entire ship turns red for the evening. And then our PJ party, which is typically held on the first night. I always mention these when I do a presentation or a brand overview because you should always be telling your clients about experiences, not just with us, but anybody who has these types of things because they want to be prepared. There's nothing worse than a client getting on board and then they don't know that everybody's dressed for Scarlet Night. What is Scarlet Night? I didn't know that I should have brought a red outfit. So always mentioning these things really helps to elevate you as the expert to your clients. But Scarlet Night ends with an epic pool party with our happenings cast. But if partying isn't really your thing, we have so many different activities to take advantage of and still enjoy Scarlet Night. I'm not a party girl myself, so I love to take advantage of the photo ops throughout the ship or watch one of the mini shows about the love story behind Scarlet Night. And even just see the decor. I mean, the decor is stunning, and you start seeing it kind of come out everywhere after dinner time. And then the PJ party is another opportunity to dance the night away under the stars with our resident DJ. So these are two things that you'll see on every single voyage, regardless of where it is sailing to, where it's departing from. You'll see these two things. So now here's the fun stuff. Who is the Virgin Voyages sailor demographics? I know that a lot of people have so many different perceptions of what the Virgin Voyages sailor is. So these are numbers, this is data. So a couple things is that our sweet spot is usually anywhere from mid 30s to mid 50s or 60s with an average age of 46 on board. Of course, this can skew higher, lower based on, voyage length, where we're sailing from, all that kind of stuff. But a couple stats that I really love to highlight are that 56% of our sailors have kids at home. Why is that important? You don't only have to look at multi-gen families with adult children or, you know, older folks or college kids. You can look at families that want a vacation without their kids. And then another thing, leading into kind of the age range, is that we have more clients over the age of 65 who sail with us than we do within the age range of 18 to 24 years old. So that really helps to show that we're not as young of a brand as people think we are. I know the marketing was a little different in the beginning, but you'll really see adults of all ages on board the ship, and there really is something for everyone on board. So now that we talked all about the product, let's talk about you and why we consider ourselves brilliant to do business with. We have one of the most competitive commission structures in the industry. We pay 16% on the voyage fare, and we pay 10% on any pre-bookables. So what does that look like? If your clients are booking a Shore Thing or bar tab, even airfare or hotel through Virgin Voyages, that's commissionable to you at 10%. And then on top of the 16% that you get on the voyage fare, my favorite part, and I'm sure it's going to be your favorite part as well, is that we have no non-commissionable cruise fare. So there's no portion of the cruise fare that we're telling you we can't pay you on this and we can't tell you why. You're getting 16% on the full voyage fare. We want to make sure that you're getting compensated fairly for selling the product. We've never had NCFs. We don't plan on introducing them now. So this is not the industry standard, and it is another way to get a little bit more money in your pocket. So resources that are available for you are firstmates.com. You heard me mention it before, but this is our trade website. And this is where everything you need to know about Virgin Voyages lives. You have our booking engine there, Academy, which is our training platform, information on our policies, any offers that are taking place, and also marketing materials under tools and guides. So everything is at your fingertips on firstmates.com. Definitely recommend creating an account if you haven't already. If you're not registered with us, you would register under Archer Travel's phone number, and then someone from that team will approve you once you're good to go, and then you can go ahead and get booking. So firstmates.com, please, please, please take the time to register if you haven't already. And then Academy, another way to become the Virgin Voyages expert. You are 10 times more likely to create a booking if you've completed the training. It's not any crazy statistic. I mean, it really is just because of one simple fact, which is that you sell what you know, and you want to be comfortable talking about the product with your clients if you are interested in selling Virgin Voyages or more Virgin Voyages if you're already signed up. So we have 4 different tier levels to accomplish, Violet all the way up to Gold. So once you get to Gold, you will be done with the training, you will be an expert, but Silver is where you unlock first mate rates. This slide is a little bit outdated. We just recently updated the rates. It's $150 per person per night on select voyages, and we have a list on firstmates.com that's updated every couple of weeks with new sailings. And then once you get to Gold, you'll have a one-time use sailor loot of $150 per cabin. So good ways to get a little bit of that knowledge. And I really do think that this is a product you need to experience to really understand what it's all about. I was just doing a regional with one of my accounts yesterday, and there was an advisor that I've seen multiple times at different events, conferences, etc. And she just got off her first voyage last week. And she told me that I was right the whole time, that she sailed, and it just completely changed what she thought she already knew about the brand. So Really definitely recommend making sure that you get on board the ship, especially if you live in one of these new markets that we're sailing from. Try to take the time when the ship is in your area to get on board. So if you do the training on your own, it usually takes about 5, maybe 5.5 hours self-paced. Some people do it quicker, some people do it slower, but if you want to do an accelerated version of it, we have this Get to Gold webinar series, and this QR code is for the current schedule, but it is a 3-hour webinar. And if you stay for the duration of the 3 hours, you'll get your gold status in one day, which is really nice. I've gotten really wonderful feedback about the program. Our first mate engagement team is great. They offer it during different times of the day. So they'll offer it sometimes in the afternoon, early evening, in the morning, just to give you options. They update the schedule once a month. So if you don't have anything that works for you in September, check in a couple weeks and you'll see the October schedule available as well. So definitely give it a try if you haven't already, or if you just want to refresh, this is a good opportunity to do so. And our first mate engagement team is really great because once you've done the training, if you still need help getting that very first booking, they have a booking breakthrough that they host as well to help you get that very first Virgin Voyages booking. So take advantage of the resources that you have because we really want to be as easy to work with as possible. Let's Go Book is another great resource that's already created for you. So it lives within firstmates.com and it is virginvoyages.com. It is exactly our consumer website, but the difference is that it's linked to you and your agency. So if you have social media that you use for a business or you're sharing content, you have a website, that's the perfect place to share your Let's Go Book link because it gives your clients the ability to browse and even book themselves while you get immediate access and credit for that booking. So I love to use myself as an example. I am a millennial consumer. I don't usually want to pick up the phone and call someone and have them quote me, 17 different sailings and 5 different categories. I'm pretty indecisive. I love being able to do it on my own, but then still have the layer of support of having my travel advisor there whenever I need anything. So Let's Go Book is a really great tool. You can find it on firstmates.com under my profile. You'll see a hyperlink that says First Mate link. Just click on that and then copy the URL and you could share that out. Another kind of resource that you can utilize, there's a couple things. So I mentioned firstmates.com. I mentioned that the marketing materials live here as well. The Inside Intel is our email that goes out usually once a week. Good place to sign up and get updates on all of the policy changes, if the offers are changing, just any information that we want you to know will typically go out in the Inside Intel. And then Society is our private Facebook group. So our leadership team typically does something called the Monday Sip, or they'll go live with different bits of information, sometimes things that are not shared broadly either. So Richard Branson has been known to make an appearance or two, but you'll see our CEO, Nirmal, along with so many other people from our senior leadership team, come onto Society and just take surveys, give live updates. So you have to be registered on firstmates.com to request access to Society, but it is a good resource to have just to get that little bit of extra information as well. Another thing that is ending quite soon is our sailing club status match. So we've been on the water for a few years now, and we want to start building a loyalty program of our own. So we temporarily have had on and off the sailing club status match, which gives your clients who are loyal to other brands the opportunity to sail on Virgin and get some of those amenities on board our ship. So take a look at these membership tiers. For these loyalty programs, you can scan the QR code that will lead you to the Sailing Club status match form. It is ending on October 31st, so we only have a month and a half left in this program. But basically, your clients would just have to be booked. They don't have to sail before then. They would have to be booked, and you would have to submit the status match form before October 31st. And then if they're eligible, our team will add those loyalty benefits to their booking. And then this is another handy dandy QR code. We're all about the QR codes today, but this is just a one place to find all of the information on the current offers. I think it's really helpful just to have everything kind of cohesive in one place. You don't have to be digging through different files and PDFs. You can have everything in one place. So another QR code that helps you kind of see where we are with our offers for the time being. And then finally, I would be remiss if I didn't mention our fabulous team out in the field. So I work with Archer Travel at a headquarter level, but you also have your own local representation based on where you live. If this grid is a little bit too much to try to figure out who your sales manager is, don't worry. You can find the information in the same place as your Let's Go Book link. It's on firstmates.com under your profile. It'll give you your sales manager's name and their contact information. I always recommend reaching out to them, introducing yourself, letting them know you want to sell more Virgin Voyages. All your sales managers for any company, any supplier that you work with, they're your number one advocate. Always reach out before you have an issue, build the relationship with them because they are there to help you grow your business. So we have a fabulous team out there that is more than happy to help you. So make sure to say hi to them. And with that, I am all done and we can open it up for a couple minutes of questions if we have any.
Perfect. Yeah, so first question is let me just change this real quick. Perfect. First question is when do the TA rates come out when for Virgin Voyages I am gold?
They're updated every couple of weeks, so it's not any particular time frame of like 90 days out or anything like that. It just varies based on availability and inventory.
Perfect. Next question is what are the benefits of Circle again?
So with our Circles program, which is groups, for those who are not familiar, it is a 10% price advantage to whatever the promotional rate is at the time that you book. And you can hold group pricing now, which wasn't an option before. And then we have two options for the travel advisor where you can choose from either a tour conductor cabin for every 10 cabins that you sell, or a 2% commission bump, which would be from 16 to 18% for your group.
Perfect. Next question is will Murder in the Manor be on all ships or exclusive to specific ones?
So for the time being, it looks like Murder in the Manor is just going to be on Brilliant Lady. I haven't heard that it'll be moved to the other ships, but we'll see. Never say never.
Perfect. Um, do I get commission on shore things or things that my clients might book while cruising on Virgin Voyages?
You get it if they book it in advance. So if they book prior to, you get the 10% that I mentioned before. But if they book anything on board, that would just be non-commissionable for you.
Can Latin American agents get their certificate to gold?
Of course you can.
Perfect. Also, I just want to, Maxine, there's going to be a Spanish webinar coming up in the next couple of weeks on Thursday. I can, let me just check where,
I think it's the
what
25th, 23rd, something like that.
yeah, so Thursday, September 25th, there's going to be a Virgin Voyages training with Juan in Spanish, and I'll provide you with that Zoom link and information. So if you'd like to join then, that would be great.
And just to kind of shout it out, so like I mentioned, I work with Archer Travel at a headquarter level, but for any of our Mexico advisors, if you're registered in Mexico, like your address is registered in Mexico, Juan is your sales manager. So make sure to stop by and say hi. I know there's been a lot of excitement in the Mexico market with Virgin Voyages.
Perfect. Okay. Next question is with Circles, does the 10% discount have to be booked before the 180 days?
So to be able to get the group space, it does have to be booked outside of, it's 120 days right now. That might eventually change to 365 days. The program's still kind of evolving, but it's based on availability and pricing, right? So like it might be that you're outside of 180 days or 120 days and the voyage is blacked out or it's just not available for group space anymore. So just keep that in mind.
Perfect. Next question is the drink package for the drink package, is it available per drink or how does that work?
So we do not do drink packages at Virgin Voyages. We have something called Bar Tab, and it is a lot more flexible than a drink package. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's money that your clients can put down in advance of their voyage and then just kind of spend it while they're on board. The drinks are a la carte and very reasonably priced, might I add. But what's cool is that if they pre-purchase it, besides it being commissionable to you at 10%, we also have something we call a Bar Tab bonus. So we throw in a little bit of extra cash for them to enjoy on board. So the bar tab starts at $200 all the way up to $1,000. And then our bar tab booking bonus starts at 25 all the way up to, I believe it's 300 for the $1,000. So they're getting a little bit of extra cash. You don't have to have one per person in the cabin over 21. It is whether you want to buy drinks just for yourself or you want to buy them for the whole bar. You can use your bar tab however you wish. It could only be used for beverages though.
Perfect. I had a comment I wanted to read to you from Sarah. She said, "Oh, and your training at convention was amazing. I really enjoyed it. Just wanted you to know that we all appreciate everything you do."
Thank you for my shout out.
Yes, I love that. It's always nice to get these nice compliments on a Friday, right before the weekend.
Very true.
Perfect. Well, let me see. I think that's the last question for now. We had some good questions, so thank you, travel agents, for that. And amazing presentation, Amanda. Thank you for that as well. Again, don't forget to join if you are a Spanish speaker. Let your teams know. We will be posting that link this coming Monday for you guys. So you can use that link to join on September 25th, Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for all our Spanish speakers from just for all our Spanish speakers. So don't hesitate to join that webinar. Amanda, is there anything else that you would like to add before we close out today?
No, just thank you very much for always coming and bringing the energy to these presentations. Thank you to Archer Travel for the wonderful partnership, and I will see you next time.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Amanda, and thank you, travel agents, and have a wonderful Friday. Bye.
Bye.